You see, those trucks right there, some people say they're ICE.
Small businesses across the country have become the sites of ICE raids.
Federal agents in unmarked vehicles and masks seizing boxes of items.
Across Texas, fear is spreading. In immigrant communities from McAllen to Houston, people are changing their daily routines. Parents avoid taking their kids to school. Workers are skipping shifts. Families are staying indoors. The cause? A sweeping immigration crackdown under President Trump's renewed push for mass arrests of undocumented individuals. In early 2025, the administration ordered at least 1,200 daily arrests by ICE, a major increase that has turned lives upside down and left whole neighborhoods scared. For thousands of people, many of whom have lived in the U.S. for decades, the message is clear: nowhere feels safe anymore. Towns like McAllen, once celebrated for their booming cross-border economy, are now almost unrecognizable. In 2024, McAllen posted record-breaking sales tax earnings, with a 12% increase from the previous year, nearly $100 million in additional revenue thanks to its strong ties with neighboring Mexico. But that economic momentum has ground to a halt. The streets are quiet. Businesses report sharp drops in foot traffic. Employers are losing staff. People are vanishing from public life, not because they've done anything wrong, but because they fear being next. And the fear is not baseless. Construction workers, domestic helpers, cooks, and farmhands, many undocumented but essential to the local economy, have simply stopped showing up. They're not criminals, they're not fugitives, they're workers, but they're being treated like threats. Senator Bernie Sanders recently visited McAllen and spoke with the families of detained workers. What he heard was heartbreaking. Stories of fathers taken in front of their children, mothers who never returned from work, and neighbors who vanished overnight. Most had no criminal records. Many paid taxes. All were just trying to build a life. In one neighborhood, residents described how the local bakery, once a lively hub of conversation and community, now operates with only a skeleton crew. Most of the Spanish-speaking workers are gone. Business owners say they're struggling to stay open, with no staff and even fewer customers. According to the Budget Lab at Yale University, the crackdown could cost the U.S. economy between $20 and $25 billion annually in lost state and federal taxes due to worker shortages, business closures, and reduced consumer spending. Economists warn that entire regions could spiral into economic recession if fear continues to keep workers in hiding and businesses shuttered. ICE has admitted that to meet its new daily arrest targets, it must raid restaurants, hotels, farms, and apartment complexes, places previously considered off-limits under older guidelines, and those raids are becoming more aggressive and public. Dramatic cell phone video from East Houston recently captured the fear and chaos during one such raid. Just after dawn, ICE agents stormed an apartment complex near the Gulf Freeway at South Wayside, targeting undocumented residents as they were heading to work. Witnesses say the men arrested were not hiding or trying to flee the country. They were cooks, roofers, and construction workers walking to their jobs. One of them was Eric, a restaurant cook and father of an 8-year-old boy. His wife, Teresa, sat outside their apartment in tears as neighbors showed her video footage of Eric being pinned to the ground by ICE agents. He just stepped out, and they took him, she said quietly. Eric had no criminal history. He and his brother came to the U.S. from Guatemala looking for a better life. "We never thought this would happen to us," his brother told reporters. Surveillance footage from a nearby gas station showed agents chasing the men, guns drawn, as they ran back in fear. Another woman said her husband, also undocumented, was arrested during the raid. He was their sole provider, and now she's left to care for their 4 children alone. ICE has not commented on the Houston raid, but activists say these operations are happening more often and with broader targets. "They're not going after criminals," said one local advocate. "They're going after anyone who looks undocumented." Lawsuits are now challenging the legality of these tactics. Civil rights groups argue that ICE is arresting people based on racial profiling, skin color, language, occupation, not actual violations of law. One legal filing noted that many detainees were taken simply because they look a certain way. While some Americans support removing violent offenders, many are alarmed by the arrests of people who've lived in the U.S. for years, raising children, paying taxes, and keeping the local economy afloat. Beyond the headlines, the human cost is staggering. In schools, teachers and counselors report rising anxiety among children. Kids are acting out, falling behind, or experiencing panic attacks. Some burst into tears when their parents were late picking them up, terrified that they might never come home. In McAllen and Houston, entire communities are collapsing under the pressure. People are too afraid to go grocery shopping. Some have stopped attending church. Others have moved away or gone into hiding. A once vibrant immigrant population is going silent. Local governments are struggling to keep up. Some cities have responded by offering more legal help to immigrants or strengthening their protections. Others feel stuck, torn between pressure from the federal government and trying to support the people in their communities. Immigration courts, meanwhile, are choking on a backlog of nearly 3 million cases. Many of those arrested remain in detention for months, awaiting hearings. Some are eventually released. Some are deported. Some simply vanish into the system. The agriculture industry has been among the hardest hit. In states like Florida and California, farmers report that crops are rotting in the fields. Without enough workers to harvest produce, entire harvests are being lost. Citrus groves and strawberry farms are scaling back operations or shutting down altogether. Restaurants are cutting hours. Hotels can't clean rooms fast enough. It's not just a labor issue, it's an economic crisis. ICE, for its part, says it is simply enforcing the law. The agency claims it is targeting those who violate immigration rules. But with arrest quotas and political pressure from the White House, critics argue the approach has become indiscriminate. Amnesty International has condemned the crackdown as a campaign of fear. The United Nations Human Rights Council has voiced concern about racial discrimination and family separations. Yet the policies remain popular in some political circles, where the narrative of law and order continues to resonate. Immigrant rights groups are urging Democrats to step up. Many feel the party has remained too quiet, allowing Republicans to dominate the immigration narrative. This isn't just a policy issue, it's a moral one, said one organizer. If Democrats won't speak up for us now, when will they? Some middle ground Democrats in Congress are suggesting a third option, a plan that mixes fair border control with a way for undocumented people who've lived in the U.S. for a long time to get legal status. Their ideas include things like work permits, better ways to track who enters the country, and treating people in detention more humanely. But so far, most lawmakers still don't agree on one clear plan. At the heart of the crisis are people like Teresa and her son, left in the dark, separated from loved ones, and unsure of what comes next. Outside her apartment, Teresa sat quietly on the curb, her son beside her, unable to explain where his father had gone or why. Her silence was more powerful than words. She believed her husband had done everything right. He worked hard, avoided trouble, and supported his family. But none of that mattered. The community ripple effects are devastating. Neighbors are terrified. Some say they'll stop going to work. Others are considering relocating. Churches and community centers are seeing more requests for shelter, food, and counseling. One Houston pastor put it simply, "We're not saying don't enforce the law. We're saying don't destroy families to meet a number." Legal experts are raising serious concerns. Some say that the actions of immigration and customs enforcement, especially when they raid job sites or apartment buildings without specific court orders, go against basic rights protected by the U.S. Constitution. Groups like the American Civil Liberties Union and the Mexican American Legal Defense and Educational Fund have stepped up by filing lawsuits and launching public campaigns to fight back. One prominent immigration lawyer called it a constitutional crisis disguised as law enforcement. Across the nation, similar scenes are unfolding. In Arizona, Georgia, Nevada, and the Midwest. What's happening in Texas isn't isolated. It's a reflection of a broader strategy, one that critics say prioritizes political optics over people's lives. As the political fight over immigration heats up, the people who are most affected, immigrants, workers, and families, often have the smallest voice in the conversation. Yet their reality is becoming harder to ignore. Their stories show up in heartbreaking videos, in the worried voices of neighbors, and in the quiet, empty streets of towns where immigrant communities once thrived. These aren't just isolated cases. They're signs of a deeper crisis unfolding across the country. A moment of truth is approaching. Whether it comes through elections, legal battles, or growing public outcry, the choices made now will shape the lives of millions. The question is, will America continue down a path of fear, division, and heavy-handed enforcement? Or will the country choose fairness, compassion, and smart reform? Communities are watching, families are waiting. The future depends on what we choose to do next.